Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, episode 69, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. I'm your host, Christian Brindle. I'm joined with my co-host, bandwagon New York Knickerbockers fan, Glenn Shelton. And we have a special guest in the building.
I'm logging off. I'm logging off. You and Andrew can do this today. I can't do this. Can't do this anymore.
I'm done with the
Somebody
show.
save me.
You gotta choose the team. I mean,
all right, let me do a proper introduction.
My gosh.
Special guest on this episode, Mr. Andrew Lee, the unofficial head of the California Department of Insurance. Not yet, pretty soon. Getting there. We'll see.
We're all in trouble. We're all in trouble if that happens. The whole state is in trouble if that happens.
Hospital indemnity making a comeback.
Hey, I remember people that treated me well and people that didn't.
Good morning, gentlemen. Jam-packed show we got for you guys today, episode 69.
Morning, everybody.
Super excited about this episode. Man, I have two introduction topics I want to get into with you guys, and I'm trying to decide which one is more appropriate. One involves some shots, shooting some shots. Another involves an interesting topic. Which would you guys prefer?
Ooh, well,
Door number
shots and craving some.
Door number two.
I don't know.
Give me door number two.
Door number two.
Topic.
Okay, so I was listening to a podcast this morning at the gym, and it got into kind of a little bit of a conversation between the two co-hosts, and I was like, this would be a great conversation for our show. And that is like the whole idea of all publicity being good publicity. I feel like this is a cliche, right? That's been talked about a lot over the years. And I guess the question being, I have my own opinions on this. I have some pretty strong thoughts about this, but for you guys, let's start with you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Is all publicity good publicity?
Man, coming from somebody that grew up in Hollywood, I would say all publicity is not the greatest publicity, but it gets you into a certain door to a certain aspect. But I mean, there's levels to this. I mean, are we talking morality? Are we talking like what, so there's a difference. In my opinion, I believe that you can get somebody's attention, but that attention can fade, right? Like a hawk to a coin, like a something to that extent, right? Like it will be here one day, be gone the next. Oh
man,
take 8 o'clock in the morning. I love it.
I just want to say, having you on as our special guest today, Andrew, for episode 69, it's too much of a perfect fit, clearly. But to get back to good publicity, Donald Trump. I mean, I don't want to talk about Trump, guys. I genuinely don't. But I think
is that what we're talking about?
I think he's the king. I think he's the king of this concept of publicity. Of no matter how bad the publicity about anything that's going on, or that he said, or that he's done, yada yada. Somehow he's always converted that energy into branding, into marketing, into, hey guys, look at me. Let's talk about me. But I could also share some examples of companies specifically who got really bad publicity and it ultimately killed their business. I've seen it go the opposite direction. One that comes to mind, and I think they've made a comeback now, but Chipotle, when they had that E. coli outbreak or salmonella, whatever it was, I personally was one of them too. I just didn't want to eat at Chipotle for a while. That was bad publicity.
You have placebo, like you'll eat it and then you'll be like, Oh,
Yes.
it hurts.
Oh,
You know,
yes, you're thinking. Yeah.
that's how to get you.
No.
Yes.
Can you leave out the salmonella on my burrito? That'd be appreciated. Here's my thought about this, because I've had opinions on this for quite some time, which, made me kind of think, I'm like, this is kind of an interesting introduction topic. So for me, right, I don't like the saying all publicity is good publicity. I like the saying most publicity is good publicity. I think there's always
That's a good
something
way.
that you don't want publicity about, right? Like, give an example. Kevin Spacey doesn't believe all publicity is good publicity. Diddy
Yeah.
doesn't think all publicity is good publicity. Like, you take your pick, right? Go down the line.
Right.
There's
Right.
gonna be there's gonna be a limit, and I'm the type of person, I take everything literally. So when you say all, I really think all. So most things, even if it's criticism, is probably good publicity. But like, if someone accuses you of something heinous, like comes out that your name is on the list of Epstein Island list or something like that, like, that's bad publicity. I don't think there's any way you can spin that to be good publicity.
It was a great island. Very
Yeah.
nice island.
It was very
I
private.
think there used to be a point where that was like a real saying, though, like all publicity is good publicity for a certain reason. But now I think it's a different culture because of the outing culture, and this is now seeping into government and Hollywood. So it's like super, out there now. So everybody has to be a little bit more, So publicity now is, you got to be careful with it, right? Because that's how, I mean, homeboy Donald Trump almost got shot. Right? There's people's lives at hand now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
so it's a different world in that perception, from how I see it, right? Like the United Healthcare, even CEO situation, right? Like just stupid stuff like that. I mean, you've marketed yourself so much to becoming CEO, all that hard work just for what, right? So it's just, now it's a different world.
It is a different world.
Right.
I think information travels at a different speed. I think when that saying was really popular, it was really hard to get well known. Think about it. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, like, it was really hard to become well known. Like, you have to be a movie star, you have to be a rock star, you have to be a professional sports player. Like, you have to really be out there and be in the media. And now everyone has a camera, a microphone. Everyone has access to stream themselves, similar to what we're doing right now. Like, it's a completely different ballgame. So I think it is almost more about how you control the publicity versus getting known. Because back in the day, I think you could have a scandal, but now your name's out there in the atmosphere for the first time. You're actually known for the first time, potentially. And then maybe you can leverage it. Maybe you can shift it. Here's another great example. Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer was, I think he was trying to run for mayor of Cleveland.
He was mayor,
right? Before he did his show.
And then he got disgraced.
Yes. Huge scandal. Basically got ostracized, right? So he's like no longer going to be and then he converts that publicity, that bad energy, essentially, into his show, which was, infamous. It's going to be infamous forever. Like, everyone, Jerry Springer, it's almost like in the lexicon of culture, like, oh, Jerry Springer, like it is literally forever a thing.
It's the GOAT of trash TV.
Right? He was my second dad, right? Like, if I was just at home, Maury or Jerry,
Maury and Jerry. Two dads.
Andrew's two dads.
Sally, Jesse, Raphael.
I mean, at least it's not Josh Hart, right? Like, at least your second dad is.
Wow.
I don't know.
The Lakers just beat the Knicks, so I can't punch them.
Yeah, LeBron's 40-year-old body finally gave out on him this weekend. So
it did.
I know, I'll say
It's
it
been a
about
fun.
it.
It's been a fun run, Andrew. I hope you had. I hope you had a fun run. The Luca thing was fun, but I think we're gonna wrap the season up now for the.
I mean,
with the championship, exactly.
Luca 40-point triple doubles average all the way to the end. You know, the end is a 2 seed.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
I wanted to mention that before we get into the main topic today too. I wanted to talk about this experience yesterday at the car dealership because it was super eye-opening for me having these really robust conversations with seniors. So I don't know if like it was just the dealership I was at, or maybe like the car game is like an older man's game at this point, right?
Real quickly before you go on, I do have a question about this.
Yes.
Because I, of course, read your post as I read every post.
You better, Andrew. You better go read my post too if you did.
I know that makes one of us.
Yeah. You're feisty this morning.
Took my alpha brain this morning.
Yeah,
Took my alpha
clearly his brain's working, guys.
So, okay, here's my question, right? Did you really give out business cards?
100%. I had them. I literally had them on me. And it was kind of like by happenstance because I can't fit all of my credit card. I have a phone wallet, right? So I have a phone wallet. I can only fit my driver's license in one card. And so a lot of times I will start carrying this and I can't to have extra cards, and it also has my business cards in it. So
I love how I don't carry business cards anywhere. Like I never have them when I
never.
Need them.
It's rare. It's rare. But straight up, multiple seniors.
It's like a large print. Here's my business card. It's called a flyer.
Yeah.
You can't read that.
Sorry. Continue the story. I just had to ask that question. I had to
legit, straight up. That wasn't just me not being facetious. Legitimately handed out my brand spanking new Everything Senior Insurance business card. But it's coming up. Oh, what do you do? And I'm talking to the sales guy. I'm talking to a different sales guy. I'm talking to the finance guy. Everyone there was 65 or older that I was interacting with. And then obviously too, a little shout out for our name, Everything Senior Insurance. I feel like the name really got their mind spinning. Like, oh, this covers everything that I would be interacting with. That the final expense conversation kind of blew my mind when immediately he's like, oh, insurance, senior insurance. Oh, my wife passed away from cancer 5 years ago, and I forgot I had this Mutual of Omaha policy on her, and I got a $30,000 check in the mail, and I was so happy to have it. And now Mutual of Omaha won't stop calling me. They won't stop calling me. And I'm like, yeah, they'll do that. Talking about long-term care, dental, vision, hearing came up. We're talking about Medicare Advantage. I was talking about Medicare Supplement. I was giving out ballpark quotes yesterday, Christian. I'm quoting best. You're quoting on a Sunday. I'm quoting Meds. I'm just trying to get out of here, guys. I'm like, can I get my car and go? Like, I'm just trying to get out. He's like, oh, well, once I get off my group coverage, I think I'm gonna get that stuff. How much is that gonna be? Can you tell me? And I'm just like, oh damn, I don't know, like 180. I'm like, depends on exactly what plan. I'm like, listen, I'm like, we are nationally licensed. I'm like, it says Utah. It says Utah on here. I'm like, nationally licensed. Just call the number. I'm like, I promise we'll take care of you if you have any questions. So. But again, the realization I had from this driving home, I'm like, I've spent as a marketer over the past decade, probably north of 10 million on marketing, right? To have these conversations. So I know the cost of having these conversations. It's not cheap.
Yep.
It is not cheap to have these types of conversations. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I got to go. I need to get out of this dealership. I got to go. And I'm having these robust conversations with seniors who there's a level of trust. I'm building trust with them. They know who I am. I'm telling them what I do. And I'm like, wow, God, like, I'm like, it's that easy. Like, it's literally that easy. Long-term care, dental, vision, hearing, cancer insurance, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement. I ran the gauntlet. I talked about everything. I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, I don't even want to do this right now. I'm like, get me out of here.
You worked a lot harder than I did yesterday. Let me tell you that.
For the first time. For the first time
For the
it
first
happened, okay?
Oh my goodness. Well,
It was awesome though.
I think it is a great
So
lesson.
what did you
though,
learn
because,
out of
like,
that experience from you not being in the field for a while? And what did you get out
So,
of that, Glenn?
well, one thing, so here's one thing that I was going to say too that I didn't necessarily like explain in the post is the seniors I was interacting with were so much more knowledgeable than I could have possibly have guessed. The long-term care conversation specifically blew my mind. They knew long-term care was almost impossible to get now. They knew long-term care was really expensive. They were blown away by like the policy their parents had and how it kept their parents from going bankrupt. And I'm sitting here thinking a lot of seniors probably think long-term care is still accessible and that they can get it and they don't, they could easily qualify. So, and that was how it was kind of across the board is I think the average senior today is a lot more knowledgeable than the senior that I used to interact with.
Yeah, that's a good call out there. And I'm happy you experienced it in the field, right? Like an agent.
I hate both of you, right? I hate both of you so
We're
much.
diving into your sales performance. We're diving in. We're critiquing it.
I think what I take away from your story is, number one, I never want to go to a car dealership again as long as I live. Number two, I think it is an important lesson for agents to hear. And I'm sure it's something that most of them have heard before, but sometimes you forget. You need a reminder of certain things, that it is a really important and valuable concept to talk where your feet are, because you always have to go places. You always have to do things. You never know who's going to turn into a customer. One of these days, Glenn, our banker Kirby might call. He's turning 65.
No, we're not writing his policy.
We're refusing his service.
I refuse to write that man's policy.
But no, like I told the story and Glenn made fun of me for it when I told the story. But I've had conversations in the steam room with naked guys. It happens.
What is Charles Barkley going on? What in the Charles Barkley is going on?
We didn't get a bracelet though.
Yeah. Okay, go on. That's a funny.
Lordy.
But no, I've every morning when I go to the gym, my routine is I work out and then I sit in the steam room for 20 minutes or so before I take a shower and I get dressed and I leave. So, there's always naked guys in the steam room. You have to be naked to be in the steam room.
Usually people.
Please don't say it again. Please don't say it again.
But it's But there's towels over and things like that. And it's with some people. Not everybody chooses to partake in the towels. But I've had some great conversations with some guys in there. There's a lot of old dudes that sit in the steam room without the towels. They're usually the ones without the towels. They stop caring. They're not hiding much, But you talk where your feet are. That's the lesson of this.
Talk where your feet are.
Talk where your feet are.
Talk where your feet are.
Whether it's at a car dealership or whether it's in a steam room.
You're on a one-on-one intimate setting, right? Might as well picture what you got, right?
Yes.
You're already in a situation.
I want to shift gears into the main topic because I think it's a great one. I think Andrew, I think in particular, I think you're going to have a lot of really good value that you can share on this, because it's one of those really good, thought process oriented topics, where like you really think back and it's like, oh yeah, that was really game changing for me. Before we get into that, though, Glenn, talk to us about this episode's sponsor, if you would.
Today's episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by none other than Hire Heroes. Hire Heroes is where you can find a vetted virtual assistant to save you time and generate more revenue by being able to delegate those low revenue or no revenue generating activities. Things like data entry, answering phone calls, scheduling appointments, things that you are probably spending tens of hours per month on that you can easily delegate to a vetted virtual assistant, typically within 2 to 3 business days of signing up. If you're looking for help and you feel like you're trapped inside your agency, inside your business, head over to hireheroes.com right now. HireHeroes. That's hireheroes.com. We want to help you out. We want to help you.
I wanted to also just quickly, just to make sure that we have the time to discuss it quickly, talk about Andrew's California event that's coming up in July.
Oh, yes.
That I will be
sponsoring it.
That I will be at. That we're a sponsor of.
Sponsors and also Christian Brindle speaking, and the only conference he's going to be at throughout the course of this year. That's worth the ticket of admission alone, guys.
I will tell you guys this. There is a higher chance that I miss the summit than miss this California event. Why? Because my wife's estimated due date is July 5th. So if the baby comes like a week and a half early, if I have to run
the summit solo because you're having a baby, I'm gonna be so mad. I'll be like, no baby.
No baby. Don't get me wrong, that's not my intention. I'm doing a rain dance. I'm doing a rain dance pretty much every single day.
He has an induction scheduled a week early, 2 weeks early. He's got this on the calendar, you guys. He's gonna just completely leave this on my plate. I can feel it.
Thanks for coming, guys. See you. No, I'm planning to be there, but there is a small possibility that something happens during the event. And basically, what would happen is I'd probably bolt. I'd be there for the birth, and then I'd bolt back and finish the event or something. I don't know. I'm hoping
live stream from the hospital room.
Live stream. But Andrew, talk about the event a little bit, right? Like, talk about who some of the speakers are. What do you feel like people can get out of this event? And this event, if I'm remembering correctly, the tickets are only $49. What a value! A PDP will pay for it.
Oh, man, I was like, dude, okay, so yes, it's $49 for a conference with Christian Brindle, sponsored by Everything Senior Insurance. We have Galen Hendricks, legend.
Wow.
Say less, right? We got
say less, say less, King. Say less.
Dalton Miller, my boy from LA now. That is a retired flow head, CEO, owner. We have Evan McGuffey, if you don't know him from the MediZeus days, now the Comtrack. We have Eric Fierro. We have me. We have who else we have left? That's enough anyway, right? I mean, that's enough for
that's a good lineup.
That is a good lineup.
A decent lineup, and normally we've been doing these. And Christian, you sort of spearheaded sort of the first California meetings that we've had. But now we've grown to more of a conference form, right? Because there's a need for it in California, and there's nobody in California talking about what's happening in California. We're one of the states that have the weirdest legislations, the coolest birthday rules, the everything else that you want in terms of commissions. We have the highest Medicare Advantage commissions out there, but it's a weird, very weird market. So anybody that's in California, come out. If you're not in California and you want to learn about just anything in general, about everything senior, really is going to be what it is. I mean, everybody on the stage is going to have some kind of, value.
Andrew, we will sue you. We will sue you so fast if you take our name.
The Everything
Well, too bad you
Senior
guys are
Conference
sponsors. So
Everything Senior Insurance Conference.
of California. Everything Senior California Insurance Conference.
There you go.
No,
There you go. You get double. Yeah, you might have to sue me for that. But yeah, no, this is gonna be one of those. It's gonna be fun. It's right. We're gonna have a ride at crypto. So if you're a basketball fan, or if you wanted to go to LA, or if you wanted to check out downtown, safe amongst people and just know where you're going and experience Los Angeles the way you're supposed to, come down to the conference. We're gonna have a good time. It's $49 till April 30th. It's gonna be 97 after, which is still a steal too. I can't believe I should have raised the rates. I'm like, why did I?
Where can people go to buy a ticket, Andrew?
It's CA Insurance Agents. I'll put the link somewhere here. Just because you might I can't. The hyperlink is a little too long. But it should be CA insuranceagentscon.com, or just I'll probably post in 7-figure.
Okay. Yeah, do it.
Yes.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do. Yeah, guys, you want to be at that event. If you're going to be in the California area, even if you're not, if you want to travel out for it, highly recommend it. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good event. I'm excited to be there. And it's a priority for me, right? Like, I'll have a 3-week-old newborn. It's a priority for me. I'm making it happen.
Andrew, can I pay you to take Christian to Skid Row and drop him off? Can you just go drop Christian in the middle of Skid Row and just like maybe film him?
If he's misbehaving, my mom used to do that. Not like that. I have a weird funny story where she used to sort of drop me in Skid Row when I was a kid, because she used to work at the Fashion District, which is right next to Skid Row. And then if I was just being fat, she would drop me off for like 5 minutes. She would obviously be watching me, but she'd be like far, and then I'd just be still making friends and still happy. She's like, this is not punishment. She'd pick me back up. This is a true story.
Punishment.
You were destined to be an insurance agent, Andrew.
Yeah, right.
that is an agent story.
A little bit nuts.
If you can make friends on Skid Row, you can sell insurance. That is a great litmus test. That is a really great litmus test.
I'm 10 years old.
All right, guys. All right, I want to shift gears into the topic at hand. I want to get us back on the train tracks. All right, so topic at hand: transformational lessons and realizations. So, what does this mean? So, when we were kind of thinking up a topic, what would be good to discuss on this episode, this panel today, I felt like this topic, to me, what it really means and what it jumps out to me as is, what are some things that were game-changing lessons that you learned in your business that was almost like a light bulb moment that created massive change in your business, right? That you look back on and you're like, that's a defining moment for me when I learned that lesson, when I had that realization. I feel like there's not necessarily, for most people, a ton of these, because otherwise they wouldn't be special if you were having one every day. But there's probably a handful that most business owners, especially when they get to the decade plus mark and they've seen a lot of growth, and they've seen a lot of success, they're going to look back and they're going to have a list of those. All of us have been doing this 10 years plus in the space. So I guess, Glenn, let's start with you on that. Like, when I say that, when I describe it, is there something that comes to mind that you're like, okay, this was game changing for me?
Well, the very first thing, I still think back to when I hired my very first employee, the very first person I ever hired. That's the thing that comes to mind. I've told this story before, but it was a Jamaican gal. And again, I remember being so worried that I'm going to pay this person. They're not going to work. I'm going to lose money, lose time. how is this all going to work? How can I trust her? How can I get more done? Like, I was so scared and like nervous, and I didn't really know what to think going into it. And then after and I ended up firing her. It didn't really go well, but there was enough success there that it did light the light bulb for me. There was enough success there where, I was able to pay her for a few weeks. There was work that was getting done. I saw how this could work. If I had the right person, I saw how it could work. That was a big realization moment for me. I went from, theorizing this, I had a hypothesis, to testing it, and now I've got a working idea. And that was obviously a huge jump off point for me in my career. But that's one for sure. For sure.
That's a great one. I think that's a great one. Andrew, what is the first one that comes to mind for you?
I was going to piggyback off of that. He took mine.
He's still waiting. Andrew's still waiting to have one. Andrew's still waiting to have one of these.
You know what's crazy though is, Glenn, you are the delegation guy, so I'm gonna leave that to you. But delegation has changed my game for sure. But since Glenn had already said that, I would say what has changed my game too is discipline and intentionality. Because you can't last in this game. You're gonna. As happy as you can seem every day, waking up, and you could have a nice cup of coffee, and then figure. So you're everybody is tired. That's doing pretty well in this industry. Let's just keep it a buck right now, right? Everybody is super tired. Everybody always is not questioning them, but questioning the next steps. And there's a lot of thought process and what should I do to, just like, you're comparing yourself sometimes. There's a lot of things that happen when you're trying to grow and you're trying to do a lot of things. So I think what really needs to happen is you need discipline first. You need to ingrain that in to get all these actions to go, right? Like, you can't really say you're going to do one thing and then that's why a lot of people fall off. Regular agents, you already know the odds, whatever, 2 out of 10 make it, 1 out of 10 make it. But businesses that flourish, that turn into actual businesses, that turn into like Cadillac, Hallmark, like generational businesses, that takes time, that takes effort, and that takes especially discipline. That's what I've learned. You got to lock in. You have to be very, very, you have to keep moving the goalpost towards your goal, and you have to keep locked in. If not, then that discipline sort of fades, and then here you are sort of trying to play catch up with yourself, right? So I think that's very important to me.
So was there an instance or a moment that you look back on that This episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by the 7 Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Guys, it is a fact that getting around other people that are chasing the same ambitions and destinations in their business as you is a great thing, and it can propel your business years ahead than not getting around people and networking and going to live events. The 7 Figure Medicare Agent Summit is the premier event. Every year we hear year after year after year that it is the event that has the best content. So many events nowadays, they do a lot of pitching from the stage. They're really just there to sell you things. And if nothing more than that, they're just a bunch of vendors put together and they're just nothing but networking. There's no content. The summit is the best of both worlds, you guys. The summit puts together great, fantastic speakers from all ends of the industry, and also get you in a room with like-minded individuals from all over the country that are trying to build their business just like you. The summit this year is taking place in Salt Lake City from June 22nd to 24th at the Hilton Hotel. We still have tickets available. We'd love to have you come out for the event. We are over 50% sold out at the time of recording this, but get your ticket now while you can. This event will sell out, and we'd love to see you there in Salt Lake City. Was like Oh, dang.
I love
gotta
this
really,
one, by the way. I
me,
love
me,
Yeah.
me
this.
too.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
love this one. This is a big one.
Yeah, there was
Is
a
it,
moment.
yeah. Talk about that moment. What was it? If you're comfortable sharing that, like, what
Yeah.
was the moment that really pushed you over the top that you're like, okay, I need to start taking this seriously?
Yeah, like Glenn was saying, I mean, I'm still fighting more moments, but I've had multiple moments though. I did have multiple moments ahead of that. So there's an initial moment where you're like, I'm broke or I need to do something with my life. And, there's that. And that's the first, the obvious one, right? The one that I need to do, I'm an entrepreneur. I can't work. I'm a type A. I can't work for these fools anymore. I can't stand around these fools. I'm the smartest person in the room. But I have $600 in my bank account. So you're in this weird position where you think you're
Yeah.
better and your life is worth more than where you're at right now, but you
Yeah.
don't have anything worth your salt saying that you are good for something, right? So you haven't proven yourself. So that initial discipline kicks in with that kind of motivation, right? That motivation is not the motivation that fades. That's the one that sort of wakes you up and kicks your ass first. That's the one that says, hey, you got to feed your kids. Hey, that's the one that says you got to actually be something. Hey, that's the one that says you got to drive to be something today. Or,
Yep.
Everybody in insurance is here. Like one of my agents' motivation is just to help. Really, the money comes along. I know that does sound corny for a lot of people that especially are in growth mode and are in it for the money. I mean, we are in it for the money, but some people are like, I show up because I'm actually helping people, so I'm like fine with this kind of job, right? But then again, discipline will always kick in because you need to hone your craft. So especially if you're coming in as a new agent, you need that discipline to sit down and be like, I need to watch this 7-figure university to figure out what sales is first. I need to figure out how to introduce myself, who I am, what I'm doing here, and why I'm talking to you. Like, I need to figure out steps A, B, C, D, and first, right? And you need to do that with a mentor and also with discipline. You need time set aside, or you need that mental bandwidth to retain information, or at the very least stay locked in. Always stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? That kind of mentality. So you're always locked in, so that you're continuously growing right at that point. So I think discipline, if you don't continue doing that, then you have to work on getting back your discipline, and then you have to keep moving forward. It's like, so you have to do another step again,
No,
right?
I totally get it. I'm coming up on close to a year. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm close to a year of consistently working out. And discipline to me, when I really think about it, there's so many mornings when my alarm goes off, I do not want to get out of bed. I do not want to work out. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the pool. I don't want to do it. But again, it's not about what I want at that point. It's about the discipline of the habit, right? It's at the commitment to the discipline to doing the habit, and knowing that even if I'm not feeling it today, and some days I am, some days I'm pumped about it. Some days I wake up, I'm awake in the morning, even before I'm caffeinated. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready for this. Many days, maybe even most days, that's not it though. Right. Most days it is the commitment to the discipline of the habit, and knowing that when I get to the other side of this, I'm going to feel better. I will be a better person. I'll be happier. I'll be better for those around me. I can support other people better by doing this. So that's a huge one. I love that. And I've seen it with you, man. I've seen you post about it. I've seen you post about doing 75 hard, I believe. You did one of those, right?
Yeah. I'm doing a variation always.
Yeah. I know you're always doing something so. I know stuff like that's not easy, So yeah, I've seen you publicly, talk about doing stuff like that, and I think there's a lot that gets gained mentally too when you challenge yourself, and then you can you succeed going through that challenge. I think there's a lot to be said about that.
Absolutely,
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's what starts with everything, right? I think it helps you get a leg up on anything you're trying to do. It makes me think of I've been known to throw out a book from time to time on the pod, and makes me think of a book I read 2018, 2019 called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy was the founder of success.com, Success Magazine, that kind of thing. And the whole idea of the book is like, by doing every day you do a good habit versus a bad habit, it compounds. It's a little bit easier in the future. But every day you do a good habit and then the next day you falter and you fall off the wagon and you don't do it again. It's like you're starting over. It's like you're hitting the reset button.
100%.
It's like you're at final Bowser on Mario 64, and then you hit the reset all of a sudden, and you have no stars. You have no stars. You're like,
what a call out on the pod. That's a legendary game.
But
legendary.
But that book was like, and I feel like I've always been a pretty disciplined person especially for business. But that book really kind of helped me understand, like, you really want to get good at something. You really want to be, masterful at something. You really want to, make progress at something. Has to be an everyday thing. And, sometimes it's easy to think, oh, I won't do it today. No big deal. But it is a big deal. It compromises all of the progress that you've made up until that point.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Christian, same question back to you, good sir.
Yeah.
What's the transformational moment or a realization where, that jump off point where it was a huge change for you?
Yeah, I have a lot of them. So for me, I feel like it's trying to pick which one makes the most sense here. I think for me, the transformational thing for me was spending money on my business. Might sound super, super like simple. Many of you guys that watch the show regularly have probably heard us talk about this into the ground. It might sound like a fundamental, if you will, but like when I first got into the business, everything I was consuming was work hard, hustle, sales, all this stuff. Not a lot of like business content until later on, like marketing, ROI, CPA, all of those things. Yes. But like in the beginning stages of my business, I thought I could just outwork everybody and get to where I wanted to go. And for a lot of things I could, but not for the main goal of where I wanted to go, right? Like my hustle could only take me so far. My hard work could only take me so far. And I was afraid to spend money on my business in the early years. It was a scary thing to me. I think I did what a lot of agents and business owners do. And I looked at spending money on my business as an expense and not an investment.
Yes.
And so I probably limited my growth potential in my early years of my career by not being willing to spend money on my business. I just think about how much easier things could have been on myself, how much quicker we could have grown, everything else in between, right? And so I think like being willing to spend money is a huge, huge thing in any business, because you take someone that will spend versus someone that doesn't, and I see these agents all the time in the groups and the communities and everything like that. They're like, my CPA is 0. I work nothing but referrals. So yeah, how about that efficiency? The thing about that, right, is like you take somebody that is not spending money in their business. Everything they do is grassroots marketing. Everything they do is referral based. They don't spend money on anything. Everything they get comes from their own blood, sweat, and tears, which is not scalable oftentimes. It's not predictable. And so, you compare that to somebody that is willing to spend money in their business, they're going to have a leg up. They're going to have an easier time. They're going to be able to get to the same place with less effort. And, I think the main word I would use with it is courage for me. It's just, developing the ability to have the courage to spend money on my business was a huge game changer, because first 3 or 4 years I didn't really. And then as time went on, I just, I got better at it, more ballsy, if you will. And I think about, Glenn, you shared a stat at the event we were at a couple weeks ago. It was a stat I didn't even know till you told me. I was like, what, really? I'm like, what? Like like last year we spent, what was it? 2.1 million on payroll.
2.1 million.
I was like,
How do you
whoa.
not?
And
Technically,
and then the S corp situation just happened after these $1 million payrolls.
that was actually my
Well-
paycheck, guys. The 2.1 million.
Like, guys, the money,
The money.
Trump fans are trying to. You gotta audit. You gotta audit ESI.
We need Doge. We need Doge to come into ESI. Okay.
Now we've gone the other way. Now we're spending.
No, I'm glad that you guys did just save so much money. This would be great for you
Well,
guys.
no, but and the thing is, I thought about showing like a screenshot from our P&L and then like maybe blurring out some of it so it's not
Oh,
showing
buddy.
like every.
Oh,
But
buddy.
but the problem is the employee expenses were broken up into several different categories, so like it wasn't like clean on the P&L. So you really did have to go through and like add up different parts of the P&L to really get to that number. So it wasn't like we had that clean number just like right there in front of us. So, but again, I thought that's what made it so. Can we kick Andrew off this stream? He's been on long enough. We had a guest. It was great. All right, let's boot him. We're good.
I feel like the spending thing though it's not just hiring employees, it's not just marketing, it's everything.
Yes.
In your business. Like, I'll give an example. We bought a book of business last year. We bought basically an agency and had about 700 clients, this book of business. And so we're taking their old archaic CRM data from this super old CRM. Like it's dated. It's not even online. It's like something that's downloaded onto like your browser kind of thing. It's like a app on your anyway.
Right.
We needed to take all this data and somehow move it into our CRM. So we had two options. We could have our team try to do it manually, which would take a ton of man hours. It would be just super complicated. Or we could have spent money to have someone come in and just do it for us. And I'm trying to remember what it cost. I think it was like $600. And it was not even a question, right? Like, spend the money so that our team internally can focus on more important things than that, right? So like it's kind of a mindset of like,
totally,
how do I save time? How do I save effort? How do I save steps? How am I more efficient? How do I automate this? All of those things. And oftentimes a lot of that ends up being expensive and costing money. But I think it's what's allowed us to grow to the size that we're at now.
For sure.
No,
100%.
I mean, even as new agents, I mean, investing in leads, like, I mean, again, I'm gonna throw it out there, but not just because I'm on with you guys, but like a T65 lead, again, like if a lead here, a T65, those, I mean, people enter their phones on those. So you start working those, and from what I've seen with my team, you start working those and you get referrals from those clients. People don't really realize that if you pay for something, it's a shortcut, and even in that manner, because you're paying for leads that you're going to close anyways. But if you're starting off as a new business, you like squeeze the juice out of every value you can get.
Yes.
Any single out there,
Let's
right?
go.
Yes. 100%.
Who else needs to be helped? Not, it's not. Do you know anybody that needs help?
Andrew can stay on. Andrew can stay on. I love this. Yes. Yes.
Well, no, but I mean that is really what it is. I mean, these leads, I mean, I believe, I mean, you can live off of these, but I mean, they are also a launching pad as well too, to get your referral base, to get your people, you might get a doctor, or I think one of the lead heroes that like somebody like a doctor, like a finance. I think I did get a doctor actually, and he referred me some people. So it's like,
there you go.
Yeah,
you never know who you're gonna get, right? So I mean, I would spend money to, even as a new agent, I'm saying, like I know the money you're talking about, Christian. I know the money you're talking about, Glenn. it's, we're coming up. This is big money we're talking about. If we're talking about just the standard agent,
Absolutely.
middle of the pack,
Every dollar.
or even, beginner, right? Spend money that way. People on my team know that I'm not BS about this. I'm like, these leads suck. Don't ever buy these. Don't go for these ones. Don't buy these at these specific times. Like, just I'll be pretty straight up. I'm not gonna lie, right? But there's specific ones where I'm like, okay, so these during this time is the T65 time for these T65 leads. So lead heroes, these will kick in. Give it about 4 months before, the 3 month people are going to come. You sort of have to have a strategy about those two. But
for sure,
I'm just saying, with the strategy, why not pay for some of these leads to get you more at bats, right? As opposed to
absolutely
just role playing with yourself. I don't know what people do if they're not on the phone with people. What do you role play with yourself all day?
So there's a story here, and Christian and I are like an old married couple at this point. So I'm always like, he's probably heard all my stories at this point, but I want to share it because it's crazy. The opportunity that we have in our space is insane. And I just give a quick little story of when I was 15. I'm working at an ice cream shop. The person running the ice cream shop, fresh out of college, has an MBA. Okay?
Did I hear this story? I didn't know you worked at an ice cream shop.
I've worked everywhere, as you've learned. I've done every job. I've done it all, guys. I've done it all at this point. But I'm literally, and it was kind of cool. Their concept was liquid nitrogen. So people would order what they want. You put it in a bowl, then you mix liquid nitrogen in. So you're like making the ice cream right in front of them. I thought it was a really cool business model. The branding was good. It was called Frostbite Creamery. Like it was all very clean. Something you would expect from someone that just got their MBA. They ultimately ended up shutting their doors about 18 months in. They didn't have enough clients. They didn't have enough revenue coming in to support the business. Here you have someone coming straight out of college who has, supposedly the latest and greatest knowledge at his fingertips, and he failed. He failed. And here we are in the insurance industry. We have all of these opportunities to get in front of people anytime, anywhere, and we can grow our business.
Anyhow, too.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the opportunity we have compared to an average business like that ice cream shop where they were spending money on, they would do the coupon mailers, right? Where you send out the big pack of coupons with everybody else in the neighborhood. They're doing signs. They're trying to get walk-in traffic. Like I remember talking to him about what the marketing looked like. And there was a lot of stuff they were trying to do. They were working with other businesses where like they would refer other people to each other, and it still didn't work. And they lost,
Yeah.
Freaking ice cream hibachis, they just don't work.
Ice cream.
I'm updating my resume now. I was a hibachi chef. I was a hibachi chef.
All right, you guys. So we're getting close to the top of the hour. I want to make sure we have a time for a couple more things before we move into final thoughts. I want to move into lightning round.
Oh, here we go.
Lightning round.
Speed. Let's go.
Okay. So, lightning round question number 1. What was your most profitable idea that you had in your business? That might be a tough question for a lightning round.
Cross-selling.
Question. Cross-selling.
Oh, that's a good one. Preset appointments. Preset appointments.
Yeah,
for me,
you're not for that.
Branding myself.
You're not for that.
There you go. You're known for that.
It works.
All right.
Keep going. Fire.
Okay.
Fire.
Keep going. Okay.
Live events.
Okay. Live events.
When you think of 2 to 3 things that you took away from live events that impacted your career, what were they? We'll start with Andrew.
The power of networking.
Yeah.
I love events.
Mm-hmm.
That's a given. And also that there's if you're in the room and you're the smartest person there, probably shouldn't be there.
You're in the wrong room.
Get into a good room over there.
I like
The problem is when you are the smartest person, Andrew. Where do I go? Where do I go, Andrew?
That's why you don't show up to these things. I know. I totally understand why you don't.
I know. That's why I don't go. That's why I don't go, you guys.
Yeah, that's
why would I go?
why. That's why.
Why would I go? Why would I go? The networking thing, like, I just to expound on that a little bit, because that's really the number one for me, is like you have like a 30-second conversation with someone, and maybe you exchange business cards and you think maybe it's not a big deal, but that like 30 seconds of face-to-face time can translate into so much more after the event, where it's like, oh yeah, I talked to you and then I saw you online afterwards, and I understand a little bit more about what you do, and I'm actually going to refer an agency over to you that wants to work with you. Like the face-to-face time, even when it's really small, can be a huge compounding effect post-event. So that's got to be my number one. Number two, sometimes just hearing it from different people can hit differently. So there's times even at the summit where I'll hear someone say something that I've already heard a million times, but it just really can, like, I receive it differently because I'm there, I'm in person. Yeah.
Lightning. Okay. Last one. Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron?
Oh,
Go.
Jordan. Definitely Jordan. Yeah.
Kobe.
You're such a Laker freaking
one. I mean, we're talking about favorite, or we're talking about greatest? You said
greatest ever. Greatest ever. Go.
You're doing tough.
Go.
Kobe.
Kobe's the greatest ever.
Michael's still alive.
So
he's a martyr.
He's gotta die.
Martyr for our city, yeah. I gotta die.
So if Jordan dies tomorrow, something changes with his legacy.
And the whole world weeps, and it's actually more sad than actually not.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's
GOAT in football.
Brady.
Ugh.
You can't beat 7.
I don't want to say Brady, but if you're going off championships, you have to. I guess it is Brady if you're going off championships. I don't want to say him though.
GOAT in boxing.
Tyson.
Ooh.
I
don't know. Pass. I don't know if I have someone to even say in boxing.
Muhammad Ali.
Jake Paul. Clearly, you guys.
Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he probably does belong in the conversation, though.
He did win against Tyson.
All right, guys, let's move into final thoughts. And great episode, guys.
Yes.
Andrew, we appreciate you coming on. This was a blast. Great conversation. Guys, my final thoughts are, I think when you run across a transformational idea, it's only as good as your ability to act on it. And, there's a lot of people that get transformational ideas that don't do anything with them, and then they're not really transformational. They have the potential to be transformational, but they don't end up going anywhere. So that would be my final thoughts, is like, keep an eye out for those when they do come up, when you do, have some wisdom that you absorb in any capacity. Just make sure that you are really understanding what's in front of you and understanding what it can do for your business if you actually take the next step and act on it. That's my final thoughts. Glenn, final thoughts.
I think that you have to, like, a lot of this is change. So like to have that, transformational lesson, it requires you to transform. And that means you're not going to necessarily be the same person. You're not going to do the same thing. Another saying that I've seen a lot lately that I totally agree with is like, nothing changes if nothing changes. So you need to be ready to change if you want to transform, because I'm telling you right now that to get to where I'm at in the industry, in the business, I've had to go through several transformations on different levels. So those are my final thoughts. Great episode, Andrew. Really appreciate having you on. Also, guys, Freebie Friday is every Friday. All you have to do is comment below on the episode, and it automatically enters you into our giveaway.
In the Facebook group.
In the seven-figure Medicare agent Facebook group.
There's like 99 platforms, and it's only on one.
If you comment on the stream in the seven-figure Medicare agent Facebook group, we're going to have 4 streams typically every week. Comment on the stream, automatically enters you in. You can enter in up to 4 times based on the number of streams. Those are my final thoughts. Mr. Andrew Lee, final thoughts on today's episode.
So just to piggyback off of what you guys said, I mean, hey, look, if there's a need for something and you got to take action on it. And one of the things that I've learned is take action on something if there really is, again, a need for it. There was a need for this conference. Again, I'm going to plug my conference, but there was an actual need for it. There was an actual organic need for this conference because, again, there hasn't been any communication with people in California. Everybody's sort of cliquey there. There's not really much of a presence where people like you guys are known. There's not so much of a presence where the people don't know the YouTube world out there or like the actual.
Dude, the West Coast needs it, bro. The West Coast needs more of it. The West Coast needs this. I can't agree with you more. Yes. Especially in that form. So that's going to be my final thought. If you guys want to come out to this event to hear actual content and not just have it where it's just sort of, generic, have it local to your area, have this information ingrained, have Christian Brindle enlighten you, right? So show up.
I love it. Guys, make sure that you make it to the event out in California, out in LA. Excited to see you guys for those of you that are going to be there. Andrew, thanks for being on as a guest once again. Appreciate it. We'll have you back on soon, of course. And thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. You guys are the real MVPs. Make sure that you give us a 5-star review on the platforms that allow it, such as Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, comment, everywhere that you might consume the content. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Here's to your abundance and massive success. Appreciate you guys.